All right, let's roll, nerds. Mr. Walker, you're charged with resisting arrest. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir. Okay.
On August 31st, 2024, law enforcement officers were dispatched to 401 East Humboldt in Harris County, Texas, in reference to a suspicious person. The law enforcement officer made contact with the witness. The witness stated that the defendant was walking down the street and appeared to be doing something. The witness stated that the defendant started making hand gestures, that he was holding an imaginary gun and shooting towards the witness's house. The law enforcement officer made contact with the defendant. The law enforcement officer informed the defendant not to be on the road while intoxicated and to leave the neighbors alone before departing the scene. The law enforcement officer was later dispatched in reference to a barking dog and observed the defendant walking in the middle of a roadway. The law enforcement officer and a marked patrol unit activated his lights and sirens and attempted to stop the defendant. The defendant continued walking away. The law enforcement officer approached and attempted to arrest the defendant. The defendant began tensing his muscles, pulled away from the officers, and began to resist. The defendant was taken into custody after being taken to the ground. The defendant later attempted to headbutt the law enforcement officer as he was unbuckling the defendant. The defendant was identified with the previous booking photo.
What was he under arrest for?
So
just walking down the street?
Yeah,
how do you know he's intoxicated?
Yes, so it shows that I guess the police were dispatched to a barking dog incident, and they saw the
He's walking while black.
Yeah, he was walking in the middle of the roadway.
No. Again, just walking down the road, just barking dog, boom. No, I'll find no probable cause. Mr. Walker, be careful where you're walking, man. People are always against you. You start acting a fool out there in the free world or start scaring people, it's not a good thing. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and take a seat for me momentarily, please. Mr. Martin, you're charged with evading arrest or detention. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On 9/19/2024, an officer in full uniform driving a fully marked vehicle observed multiple people loitering in front of Siesta Mart in Harris County, Texas. Officer parked in front of the store and the defendant began to quickly walk to the south of the building. Officer told the defendant to stop, but the defendant began to run when he got to the corner. Defendant ran to an apartment complex and the officer lost sight.
That's it?
No, Judge. The officers established perimeter canine.
Wait, but even, what's he doing wrong?
It just says he was loitering. It just says he was loitering, Judge. I'm trying to see if there's more.
No, I don't think so. I'm gonna find a probable cause.
Okay, Judge.
Dude, be careful, man. Life's hard enough as it is.
Because I just got out of prison from that block. I understand how it works.
All right, just hang tight for me, will you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Judge. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I am here on Devin Shamlin, and I was appointed this morning.
With an S?
Yes. S.
Why is he still in jail? Oh, he's got the felony case upstairs.
Yes, Judge.
Yeah, he's at no bond on the unlawful possession by a felon. And it's set for December.
Judge, I wanted to see if we could review probable cause.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
Your Honor.
Alex.
On October 16th, 2024, the officer conducted CCTV surveillance at 647 Greens Road in Harris County, Texas. The officer observed the defendant flag down a motor vehicle, enter the passenger side of the motor vehicle, and exit within approximately 10 seconds. The officer located and detained the defendant for a narcotics investigation. The officer observed a Starburst candy bag on the floor containing multiple small red plastic bags filled with a green leafy substance identified as marijuana based on the officer's training experience. The officer reviewed surveillance showing the defendant in possession of the candy bag and placing it on the floor. The weight of the marijuana was 14 grams or 0.49 ounces.
So because he goes into a car and gets out, like briefly thereafter, he just goes up and starts searching him?
Your Honor, the officer was part of a proactive task force and
I
he
get it.
saw him enter in the vehicle and exit within a short period of time, reflecting in his training.
I do that with my friends all the time. I go in, hey, dude, how you doing? And then I
Your
used to
Honor,
do it all the time in high school.
the officer recognized that as a potential drug transaction.
I'm with you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, no PC,
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Is he not show? Come up. Who are you? Come on up. You can come too. Why on two different sides? You embarrassed to be with your mom? Oh, okay.
I separate
Got it.
family and spectators.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Hardy. Mr. Hardy, you're charged with possession of marijuana. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. Shh. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On November 22nd, 2024, the officer observed the defendant's vehicle parked more than 18 inches from a curb on a public roadway in the right lane of a two-way road in Harris County, Texas. While the officer ran the motor vehicle, the passenger side door opened, a black female exited, and the female approached the patrol vehicle. The officer made contact with the female and observed a strong odor of marijuana emanating from the female. The officer made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle, and observed a strong odor of marijuana and had the defendant exit the motor vehicle. A PC search was conducted and the officer located 3.5 in the driver's side door and one blue package with Oops All Berry on the front containing green leafy substance on the rear driver's side floorboard, one red package with Fruity Pebbles on the front containing a green leafy substance in the back seat, and two clear plastic baggies containing green leafy substance under the front right passenger seat. The officer also observed one burnt marijuana cigar behind the front passenger seat and one small chunk of loose green leafy substance in between the driver's seat and the door. The green leafy substance was identified as marijuana based on training experience, and the weight was 54 grams or 1.9 ounces.
He was doing what that was wrong?
So he was parked more than 18 inches from the curb on the right lane of a two-way road. So he was out.
On earth are you going to know that you're parking more than 18 inches? What time of day or night was this?
Your Honor.
Is it parking while black now? Come on.
Yeah.
Your Honor, there's no time listed. It just says the officer was on patrol around the 3518 block of Arbor Glen Drive when he observed the vehicle parked more than 18 inches from the curb.
And so he goes up to the car because of that?
No, Your Honor, a female passenger side exited the passenger side and approached their vehicle, and he observed a marijuana
Oh,
from
but because he comes up to them. Right? Stop. Are you losing?
The officer wrote as he ran the vehicle, presumably the license plate.
Right, he pulls him over.
They were already parked on the side of the road 18 inches from the curb, and he came, I guess, parked behind, and he was running the vehicle, and then the passenger side door opened, a black female exited and approached his vehicle, the patrol vehicle, and he observed an odor of marijuana on the female, and then he made contact with the driver, where he observed marijuana odor in the vehicle. So the female approached the patrol vehicle.
Show me in the penal code that code. What is the penal code for that?
Regarding the 18 inches from the curb, sir, is that the
Yeah.
issue of what we're talking about?
Yeah, because they come to him because he comes to them. right? They're just parked. He comes to them. It's got to be a transportation code, not penal code, you know?
And Your Honor, regarding the timeline of events, it does appear that when they were parked that distance away, which could be arguably further, I don't know what it looked like at that time, but the female passenger is the one who exited first, and that was before officers ever made contact with them. So I don't know if you were thinking that the officers approached them first, but I just wanted to clarify that she approached first.
What time of day or night was this?
Trying to see that, Your Honor, in a second. Is it 4 in the morning?
And Your Honor, I
4 in the
found,
morning.
4:30 a.m.
And you can delineate at 4 in the morning that parking 18 inches from a curb.
and I found the regulation, the statute in the
Mm-mm.
transportation code where it says you have to park within 18 inches.
At 4 in the morning, you can tell.
Your Honor, the officer was,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't think so. All right, I'm gonna find no probable cause.
Yes,
All
Judge.
Guys, be careful, right? You know, they're always out there. Just be careful. Do something with your life. Knowledge is power. Get into school, get an education, do something with your life. Life is hard as it is. And it only gets more difficult the older you get. All right? Okay, guys, please.
And we'll be sure to call the officer on this case to
Whatever you need.
understand why he did in fact pull them over for this amount of space.